Alright, so I decided to put up this summary spoiler before I go off to class. Warning, if this isn't your subscription and you haven't checked out the book review and you don't want a spoiler for this, if you don't want me to tell you everything that happens in this book, click this book now. You'll have 5 seconds when I finish this little statement, and it'll take you to my actual book review, and we'll go from there. So, you have 5 seconds. Alright, people who are continued watching this video, you've read my book review and you've agreed or you've chosen to listen to my opinion or my advice and have me just spoil this book for you so you don't have to purchase it, because the information in here is necessary for this book. Which is altogether, guys, this is the next installment in the series. So what happens is Hadley dies, and Hadley's a vampire, so she's definitely dead. And Sookie has to go to New Orleans in order to take care of the Hadley's things in her estate. Hadley and the Queen had done the nasty a couple times. They were lovers, and when the Queen married Peter, who's the King of Mississippi, she had to Hadley had to get lost. And what ends up occurring is the Queen's lawyer, Catholides, I think that's his name, he has 2 nieces, one of which is tries to run a message to Sookie to tell Sookie, hey, you know, you need to come take care of your stuff. We're going to be down there to pick you up, or up there in Bon Ton. We're going to Bon Ton to pick you up, so be ready on this date. Well, what ends up happening is the niece that runs the message to Sookie, who they happen to be demons, she ends up being killed before she meets Sookie, or before she reaches Sookie. So when Catholides, the lawyer, and his other niece show up, she's unprepared, but she goes anyway. They find, you know, his niece's body. They take care of it. They discard it the way that it needs to be taken care of and discarded. So, that ends up occurring. I guess an important piece of information to know is Sookie's dating Quinn, and for those of you who've read the other books, you know who Quinn is. He's the were-tiger. So she has to tell Quinn that she's going away because she needs to take care of Hadley's things, and she leaves him a message and she leaves. Well, when she's there, she meets Hadley's landlord, whose name is Amelia, and Amelia ends up telling Sookie that, you know, she's a witch, and she basically preserved the room so that way it would be exactly the same the night that Hadley had died. And what ends up occurring there is they end up finding this werewolf that was turned into a vampire by Hadley, which they discover through the ectoplasmic reconstruction. I'll explain that in a second. And it attacks Sookie and it attacks Amelia, but you know, that's all taken care of. So what happens is Amelia wants to know how that new vampire, I guess, got into the closet, which is where Sookie found him. And they discovered that using the ectoplasmic reconstruction, which Sookie has the Queen pay for, or the Queen does pay for, because of course she loved Hadley. And this ectoplasmic reconstruction is you take a couple witches and they basically, kind of like a movie, but like in a ghostly type of a way, you actually get to visually see what had occurred. So you see all the events that occurred with Hadley during the certain period of time that they set it for, and you discover that somebody had injured Jake, who is the were-vampire. I'm guessing it's they don't give him a title. He's a vampire now. He can't change. They gave Jake they had hurt Jake to the point of where he was almost dead, and Hadley, having felt, you know, remorseful and kind of responsible, she ends up turning him into a vampire so he can still live. And then Hadley is killed, and the person who kills her is in the book. Like, that stuff isn't important, really. What is important, however, is that when Sookie goes to meet the Queen, because, you know, Queen's girlfriend, Queen's paying for the ectoplasmic reconstruction, she finds out that Hadley has a bracelet that the King had given to Sophie Anne, who's the Queen of Louisiana. Well, this bracelet, if the Queen doesn't have it, it gives the King reason for divorce, because she's not wearing, like, I guess, something that was a representation of their marriage. So the Queen's really freaking out. Sookie has this huge responsibility now to find the bracelet and return it to the Queen, all at the same time, you know, take care of the affairs that are going on with Hadley and the fact that she's got injured from the attack that occurred with Jake. So when Sookie finds the bracelet, she's actually invited to a ball that the Queen is hosting, or a party that the Queen is hosting, and what occurs there is the King, who had assumed that Sophie Anne wouldn't find the bracelet because he had given it to Hadley, sees Sophie-Anne with the bracelet because Sookie returns it, and the vampires from Mississippi end up attacking the vampires, not Mississippi, sorry, Arkansas. I keep saying Mississippi, and that's wrong, it's Arkansas. The vampires from Arkansas end up attacking the vampires from Louisiana. Things happen. One of Sophie-Anne's beloved children, Andre, he ends up killing Peter because Peter was going to kill Sophie-Anne. Quinn had escorted Sookie to the ball, so he took care of Sookie. Andre took care of the queen. The king died. All of the bad vampires from Arkansas died, and everybody lives to tell the tale. Well, everybody who matters, I guess, lives to tell the tale. That's all that happens in this book. Like I told you, within 6 minutes, this entire novel. I mean, there's another part in here where Quinn and Sookie are kidnapped by werewolves, but the part, like, I mean, it's kind of important because it gives you insight, because Sookie killed the Pelt's daughter, Debbie Pelt, and they had werewolves like kidnap her to try to find out, you know, what happened to our daughter, whatever. And so there's like a little sub-story there, but that really isn't important. All you have to know is Sookie goes to New Orleans, ends up helping the queen stop her husband from rightfully divorcing her. Arkansas attacks Louisiana. Everybody from Arkansas died, and the people from Louisiana carried on with their lives. That's all that happens, truly, in the book. So if you still want to pick it up, I wouldn't advise it, but if you really want to, go ahead. I need to get going to class, but I hope you guys not necessarily enjoyed this spoiler, but it gave you more of an insight, so that way you don't really have to go buy this. All you have to know, Hadley and Sophie-Anne had a thing. Sookie saves Sophie-Anne. Sophie-Anne ends up, Peter, Arkansas's king, ends up being killed because of Sophie-Anne's vampires, which is an important aspect to know for the next book. Other than that, it's not worth reading. So, I'll see you guys later because I'm going to do an update video, and then this will be our next book altogether.